Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sold with Updike Pugh.
I'm Jeff Updike.
I'm Weston Pugh.
And today in episode 346, we are going to look at a really cool house. This is at 12129 Marbrook Drive, and this is in North Dallas. This is right off of Preston Road and Forest. Really great neighborhood.
It is, and also we're going to feature 75230 in our market watch, and there's some really interesting data that you want to pay attention to. And we're going to feature three amazing things that are also in this area that the locals really love. And in Home Ownership 101, we're going to talk about the math of owning a pool here in Dallas.
So let's talk about what's happening in 75230. There is data in this market that you definitely want to pay attention to.
What data is that?
Number of sold listings. There have been 49 closed listings in this zip code in May. And we talked last week about a 30 in a different zip code being a lot. I mean, this is a very active zip code. It's up 40% from last year.
And that's happening while new listings are actually down. 68 in May versus 77 a year ago. So there are more closings, fewer homes out there, and that is definitely a data point that you want to pay attention to.
It does. And the buyer pool here isn't random. These are people that want to live in this zip code primarily because of being in the private school corridor. You know, there's St. Mark's, there's Sturgeon, there's everything's right there in that flow.
Absolutely. So one of the things too is the median sales price, and this is really interesting because this year or this month in May 2026, it's 1.3, and that's actually down from 1.9 in May of 2025. Keep that in context. Lots of big homes change things.
It is. And that number's kind of misleading because we have everything in this market from $700,000 townhome condos, actually $300,000 condos to like $20+ million homes.
That's a huge swing. And the other thing too that we're looking at is what's the percentage of sales price. And right now we're sitting at about 95.2. And that's a good number. One of the things it does tell you is that there is a little bit of room for negotiation, and that is not untypical for some of these higher priced homes.
And pricing discipline wins. Well-priced homes are going to sell.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. Anyway, so right now at 75230, transactions are up 40%. Supply is also tightening and buyers are extremely motivated. You're getting 95% on the dollar. And for sellers who price it right, that is a win. If you've been waiting for a moment to get into the market, this is one of those times that it might be time to make a phone call.
And before we get into talking about the house, let's talk about some of the things people really enjoy in the neighborhood.
So one of the things I think that's really important is people always say, well, what can you do outside in Dallas? And there is a park that is right around the corner, and this is actually Preston Hollow Park. And you and I actually had a house that actually backed up to this. This is a great neighborhood. There's a lot of wide open space that is easy if you've got four-legged, two-legged that need exercise. Take them here. There's also a lot of tennis courts, and also pickleball, which is really a great thing.
And I've played softball there.
You have?
Yeah. Yeah, when I played softball many years ago, that was one of the parks we played at.
I totally forgot it had a softball court.
Yeah. Northhaven Trail is also something that you'll want to know about. This is a 9.3 paved track from one end to the other. It's 18 miles round trip. I've done it round trip lots of times. It is also connected to the White Rock Trail by the bridge that goes over Central Expressway. And that is the only bridge that has ever been built over Central Expressway for bike paths.
Really? Oh, that's right. City Place never made theirs. I was like, wait, no, you're right. Okay. So one of the things too that we like to talk about is where you get to go out to eat. I'm going to talk about that. So Mercury Grill, every local knows and goes to this area. We were just there for a happy hour. This is a really great place. The actual chef, his name is Chris Ward. He received a James Beard Rising Star nominee. If you're looking for great sushi, Americana, or just really great drinks, this is the place to go. And if you like a soufflé, they have a very good dessert one, but you need to know ahead of time because it takes a long time to cook.
So that's the neighborhood. Now let's talk about the house.
Let's talk about this house.
So this is a brand new construction luxury home at 12129 Marbrook Drive.
This is a great house. So the setback on this really accentuates how large this lot is because I think we're just under 0.4 of an acre. Brand new construction. As you walk in, they've really thought about how to create a dramatic entrance. These balustrades that are wood that are staying the same color as the run, you do not see very often. Wraps around to a catwalk. come back on downstairs with us and you get this amazing dining room with floor to ceiling windows. It also has a wet bar. Arches throughout this house really denote that they understand what today's Dallas buyers are looking for when it comes to architectural details.
And these are all 11-foot ceilings on this first floor. That entryway is a 22-foot high ceiling.
I like the fact that these wood floors throughout create a harmonious look. It is the right color for what people are looking for. This kitchen, it might as well be called dual everything. Dual oven, dual sinks, dual dishwashers. I love that the freezer, stand-up freezer combo is actually paneled to match the actual cabinets.
Yeah, it blends in really, really well. Kitchen's a really great size. You've got plenty of room for a couple of different people to be there working. Somebody can be prepping. Somebody can be doing other prepping. Somebody can be cooking. I love this second kitchen.
The back kitchen.
The back kitchen. I love the back kitchen.
More shelving than what you need, yet another sink. This view right here lets us take a look how you go from outside to the breakfast nook, which then, again, we talked about views. One of the great things is the views that are actually from the master bedroom as well. Floor to ceiling, light, 11-foot ceilings, as Jeff was talking about. And what a great way to step into the primary bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Love the separate tub there. I really like the separate shower that they've done with this, but then they've also got their water closet that is separate from everything as well.
And don't forget the actual closet, because this is like what you would find in a Neiman Marcus.
Yeah, it's crazy.
One of the things downstairs is that you're actually going to have another bedroom that actually has a door that opens from the bathroom to give you a pool bathroom.
And this is a really great backyard. You've got room for the pool. You've still got room for whatever else you want to do. So 12129 Marbrook Drive is a 6-bedroom, 6.5 bath, 6,700 square foot home, priced at $3,595,000.
Amazing, amazing place.
It really is. This was built by Shelleyann Custom Home, and it is wonderful. And we'd like to say thank you to Roxanne Diamond for letting us talk about her home today.
So one of the things that we're going to do is actually give you a link to this house in the comments. That way you can look at the other pictures that we didn't use just for time's sake. Zoom in and out on the map. You're going to be really surprised at how close this is going to get you to the brand new HEB that's coming in as well. These are excellent things. And if this is something you'd like to see, let us know, and we'd be happy to make that happen.
So speaking of pools.
Oh, Jeff, tell me more about what this is.
Let's talk about Homeownership 101.
Homeownership 101. So one of the things that we have helped multiple clients, and I think this is, we talked with Clint about his, figuring out, does a pool make sense? And are you thinking—
Does putting a pool in make sense?
Right. And does the math work? Because I think that you and I are, if the math doesn't work, there's no reason to proceed. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is a very different element, because one of the big things on this is also how long do you plan to be there? Mm-hmm. I think that, to me, is one of the big things.
That is the one thing that solves all problems when it comes to a pool.
And real estate, basically.
Time. Yeah.
Time fixes it all. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about what math we should be taking into consideration if you're thinking about putting a pool in.
Pool premium, you're going to get about $54 a square foot for your pool. And it's going to increase your price in many instances by 20%-ish or so. But the thing that you have to keep in mind is right now you can spend $120,000, $140,000 on a pool and the setup and the pergola and all of that. And it's not going to add that much value to your home instantly. It's probably going to add between 75 and 80% of that to your home, but you're instantly going to be $30,000 to $40,000 upside down on that investment.
The other thing too that is a hidden cost that people don't always take into consideration is that the amount of expansive clay that we have in the ground here. And that actually comes in and changes the way that you are actually engineering a pool and can really increase the cost upwards of $30,000 at times. One of the other things that they'll let you know after that arises is that in certain areas, Oak Cliff, there's a lot of rock. And when they have that much rock, it slows things down, but it's a heavier material that has to be hauled away. And you can see an increase in your haul away cost, say $10,000 that you didn't budget for. So there are little hidden things you got to think about.
And maintenance costs can run anywhere from $3,500 a year to $6,000 a year, let's say. You've got your insurance is going to go up a little bit. It's not super dramatic, but it's going to go up. There's liability. You've got the additional cost of water. The sublimation's going to take water out of your pool, so you're going to put water in it every year. The utility bills for running the pumps, just the overall maintenance, chemical maintenance. It's, you've got to budget money for that.
There's also, you're going to have to factor in the fact that you're going to have to, if you're going by code, you're going to have to fence it. You're also going to have alarms on the doors. If you're talking about utilities, if you have a heater on your pool, this is definitely something that can actually, again, add to that monthly bill. And sometimes if it's really cold and you want to really heat the bill, you can see a $600 to $900 add to your utility bill. I think that Dan and David got woke up to that one morning.
They have with friends that didn't
turn it off.
They for a variety of reasons, they didn't think it was going to cost them as much as it did, and it did. One of the things that I would say to sellers, if you have found yourself in a position where you have bought a home, you spent that $100,000 on the pool, and now for whatever reason you've got to sell it. When we have people like that, they always want to tell us how much they spent on the pool. And I think they need to stop doing that. They need to stop leading with that, because nobody cares about what those receipts say.
Not on this.
What you have to do is you have to start selling it as, look at the convenience, look at what you're going to get.
Your lifestyle.
You get immediate use of all of this, where I spent 9 months with a muddy hole in my backyard that I couldn't go out into. And then I had multiple arguments with my contractor. It's just, you've got to sell that convenience to somebody.
And so we're also going to pick two neighborhoods real quick, and we're going to share with you what would happen if you put a pool in. So if you take I'm going to talk about Lake Highlands. So Lake Highlands, let's talk about the lots. And so we're talking about 0.18 to 0.25 of an acre of land. So with a traditional 2-story home that's going to be built on that, once you put a pool in, you're really absorbing almost all of the green space. And so that can either be yes or no. And a lot of times people get really turned off when that entire backyard has coping and there is no green space. Because you got to think about this. A lot of times people want a little bit of green space for the dogs, or if they have young kids, they're going to need a playground, something like that. So be mindful of that. Explore opportunities that would allow you to change the actual footprint of the pool to also increase green space, but also not put it right up against that back door.
Yeah, I would agree. There are a variety of impacts you're going to have based on how much yard you have and just what you have to work with.
Well, like in the house that we just featured on Marbrook, that was almost 0.4 of an acre. And because of the way that they situated that, they have a ton of green space still left over. And so you need to be mindful of that when you're looking at that.
In comparison to North Dallas or Preston Hollow neighborhood, where you've got the third to the half acre, a pool is expected. And, when buyers look at houses over there without a pool, those houses, it's not pools add value. It's that lack of pools discount.
And I think that a perfect example of that is the Alario, 2 homes that came side by side that are almost identical in your neighborhood. One had a pool, one didn't. What's the first one to sell? The one with the pool.
Yeah.
And the other one still has not sold. So it is an interesting thing, and we'd love to talk with you if you're thinking about doing that. Buying a home that already has a pool, I think that's the way to go. If that is something that is on your to-do list, let the seller take the ding on that. Let the seller go through all of the discomfort, displacement. Let them work through the first 6 months of warranty calls on this, because there will be issues that they're going to have for that first 6 months. And then you just jump in and blow up your floaties and enjoy it. If I was going to go, that's the way I would go. I think that you and I have both seen our buyers who thought that, no, I can actually put it in. And by the time they go through the gyrations, they spend the money, they're exactly where they could have been, but they didn't get to enjoy it for almost a full year.
Yeah.
So,
and I think the answer depends on, where you are, what size lot you have to work with, and who the buyer is. If you can get those 3 things right, that's really the golden ticket.
It's funny that you say it like that, because before the show started, we were talking with Jesse, the producer, and we were saying, "Oh, don't you always get that question about what the market's like?" And we're like, "Well, tell us what price point you're looking at. Tell us what zip code." The same thing goes for the pool. It really is. It is site specific like the pool. And if you're in a situation where you want to make a decision like that, we'd love to have a conversation. Call us for a cup of coffee.
So that's it for our show today. We have talked about 75230 market, where closed sales were up, new listings were down. You're getting 95 cents on the dollar. We talked about 3 places locals loved. We have talked and we've walked this 12129 Marbrook Drive.
It's amazing. And so what we'd like to do is give you all the links in the comments below. Click on those. We hope you enjoyed the show. And just remember, we're going to be realtors for life.